there, lovely listeners, and welcome back to Reasons to Care, the podcast all about heartwarming stories and making a difference with diverse abilities, Dorset's disability charity. I'm Claire, one of the managers in our children's team.
And I'm Becky, Marketing and Volunteers Executive, and I also like to pick up a few shifts in supported living, as that's where I started off when I first came to Diverse Abilities.
Thank you for joining me as my guest host for the start of Season 4. I can't believe we've gotten this far already. And this month we've got Jon and Nicki with us from our very own specialist school at Langside.
We do indeed. I'm sure we'll get into it properly in a moment, but Langside School is based in Poole and supports more than 30 students at the moment. And of course, if you're inspired about working in care listening to the podcast, don't forget to check out our career vacancies online at any time at diverseabilities.org.uk/careers.
Welcome today, Jon and Nicki. Thank you for joining us. So maybe it would be great for you to tell us a little bit about Langside School. What sort of activities do you get up to and who do you support? Jon, do you want to go first?
So Langside is a very special place. It's a specialist provision for children with profound and multiple learning difficulties. The complication to that is then that many of our children have complex medical needs as well. So we are very proud with the way in which we've developed the school environment, in which it caters for all children regardless of their need.
And we provide a bespoke curriculum for those pupils. And the activities that we provide in school as well give a breadth and balance to their lives. So one day they'll be doing hydrotherapy, the next day they'll be having sensory stories. We get outside as much as possible with outside play. We're very lucky at Langside that we have a multidisciplinary team that consists of speech and language therapists, physiotherapists, occupational therapists. We've got our nursing, and we've got expertise within our teaching staff that have a number of years working with children with these kind of needs.
And we're very lucky that we've been able to, over time, create personalised, individualised curriculum for our children. Whilst the numbers of 32, I think we're at now, don't seem large, they are when we consider the level of need these children have. But we're still able to create these individualised curriculums, which means that uniquely, I think, in schools, we are able to address the children's educational needs to the nth degree. And quite often in mainstream, it's a broad brush. At Langside, it's a very focused approach. And it needs to be, because our children change all the time and we need to be as dynamic as possible to change with their needs.
So it's not a curriculum in the same way as mainstream school, is it?
No, it isn't. It's based on, firstly, the children's EHCP, so their education healthcare plans. All of our pupils have those. And within that, they have the longer term outcomes for the areas of their needs. So we use those as an overview of kind of the direction of travel for their learning. Then we look at how we assess our pupils, look at their strengths, and we then create their targets from those strengths so that they move forward in the direction that they're travelling. Because all of our children are unique. So we have to make sure, again, that they have a unique curriculum that matches what they need.
But at the same time, we still are a school. We are still held to account as every other school through Ofsted, through expectations, through the local authority. So we have to deliver against the children's need, and we have to evidence progress. And that's what we do.
That must be quite tricky to try and get that balance of making it really unique to each individual child, yet still maintaining all the requirements that Ofsted and the local authority and everybody want you to meet as well.
It is actually. But the flip of that is it's probably harder within a mainstream setting to try and do that for so many different children, whereas at least we have the luxury. Our challenge is evidencing what we know, that we are having an impact and the outcomes for those children are good. So that's our big challenge. The luxury we have is the skill and the staffing to be able to be adaptable So, yes, we do have to have interesting conversations with professionals that you would think know better.
So, Jon, could you tell us a little bit about what your job role is within Langside School and how long you've been around?
Yes, so I think I've just started my 14th year as principal of Langside. For the majority of those years, I was also kind of working alongside children's team as a head of children's team. But now I'm with the growth of Langside. That's the focus. So I've been here. It feels like 5 minutes, but it's been a good while now. I came from a mainstream background. I had obviously experience within special needs. I'd been Senko, I'd been advanced skills teacher for inclusion. But I was looking when I started looking for a headship, I was looking for something different. What I didn't want to do was do what I'd been doing for the past 10 years as a deputy head, working on a really large junior school. And I was just kind of looking out there, seeing what was about. I saw Langside advertised. I thought, well, I'll throw my hat in the ring. I don't stand a chance because I don't have the necessary experience. And yes, you've got to be careful for what you wish for because obviously I wanted something different.
I was about to say, this must have been really different.
Yeah, I think I spent the first at least year, possibly two. It's like a rabbit caught in the headlights. Not that I wasn't enjoying it. I was having to relearn a whole new language around education. I'm even the terminology that the medics use here, but because of that, it was the challenge that I wanted because it wasn't going on to another junior school doing the same thing, rolling out the same initiatives, having the same conversations with parents, doing the same assemblies. It was so much different to that. But my head hurt for a good period of time. But it hurt in a good way because I was learning something completely alien to myself, yet so familiar. It was in a very strange juxtaposition that I was doing something that I knew I could do, but at the same time didn't have the first clue what I was doing. But we got through that, and 13 years down.
The changes as well that have happened over those 13, 14 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I've said, it's still a school. We are still constantly looking at how we can improve our offer, like any school. And it is still about the children. So when it comes down to the fundamentals, the role is no different. It's just all the noise in the background that is. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we've done so much in the last 13 years collectively as a team. The school is in a really good position. We've got a great curriculum. We've got great staff and structures in place. We've got, yeah,
And
but
you're
it's
bursting at the
taken,
seams. So
and we are,
Yeah, with more that want to come.
exactly.
So,
And
yeah.
that's a real testament to what has the change that I guess has happened in the past.
yeah, absolutely. And our reputation amongst families is really good, and people feel confident that when we say we're going to deliver, and that's it's always been the important thing. But I think some people forget it. And I think when you start making promises, especially to parents, especially well, any parents, but you make promises, you've got to deliver on that. And if you can't, don't do it. What we try and do is make sure we deliver. And if we can't do something, then we have an honest conversation with the parents. And that might be difficult, but it's this over promising and under delivering that I think all parents find difficult.
Nicki, can you tell me a bit more about your role and your journey with diverse abilities?
Okay, so I started at Langside School 19 years ago, coming up for my 20th year. I was an NQT, a newly qualified teacher, and I took on maternity leave for one of the teachers in the early years. And I haven't looked back. I've kind of grown up and lived the Langside life, as it were. And and now I'm a deputy head. So I support Jon as part of the SLT. We've got a great team that make up our SLT. We work really well together. And I kind of look at the day-to-day running of the school. I've got an overview of what's happening with assessments and how the children are progressing. Yeah, we're in a very lucky position at Langside because the dedication of everybody is so good. We've got a great team.
Can I just ask, if you started as an NQT, was this the direction that, like when you were training, was this the direction you wanted to go in, or did you kind of just stumble upon it and think, oh yeah, I quite fancy that?
Yeah, I think it just happened.
Oh, okay.
When I first started, I knew I wanted to be a special needs teacher because I'd already worked with children with special needs previously. And then I did my teacher training, and I worked with Coping with Chaos before it was part of Diverse Abilities. And we used Langside School as one of the settings. And I was walking around and I thought, I really like this school. This looks great. And I spoke with the head teacher at the time and said, any vacancies coming up? And he said, actually, there might be. Why don't you come and do some volunteering, see what you think? Because as you know, we're very unique, see what you think. And then we'll go from there. So I did some volunteering 20 years ago. And then, yeah, that was it. I never looked back.
Been here ever since.
Yeah, been here ever since. Yeah.
So you've already talked about having lots of different professionals on site, and I guess that is what makes Langside unique. We've met Amy previously in one of our other episodes, who is a nurse at Langside. How important is it for you guys to have those different professionals on the site and have them on hand all the time?
It's essential, really. In order that we can provide an education for our pupils, they have to be in the best place possible, physically and medically, because they're not going to be able to learn or be able to take part in the activities that we're giving them if they're not fed, medicated, feeling comfortable. So yeah, making sure that they are that way. We have the incredible team that we do supporting that.
It's no different to other schools. They are removing the barriers to children's learning. We just have to have a far broader offer to ensure that our children can be in the best possible position at that time to be able to access learning. If you're in pain, you're not going to concentrate. You're not, and it's hard enough for our children to engage with their learning anyway. So if you're in pain or discomfort, or you're awaiting medication, or the medication is not the right medication, or there are so many considerations that we have to get right before our children are in that right learning place. And even then, that's when the challenge starts for them.
And also from an emergency point of view, some of our pupils will have emergency events that we need nurses on site to be able to react to and provide that care for. And that has meant that children don't have to necessarily then go into hospital because they're having that support in school. So that, that's essential too.
And also, following Nicki's point, our parents need to be confident that when they hand over their children, just like everywhere else, but our children come with a huge amount of need, a lot of medication, a lot of requirements, a lot of input, and they have to be confident that when their children are passed over to us, that we are acting in such a way that they feel safe in the knowledge that their child is going to be looked after. So yes, having this multidisciplinary team, it fills so many areas. It makes the curriculum comprehensive. It means the children are safe, and it means that the parents are confident. And then we can get on with the teaching and learning.
I was going to ask you about the parents because that was something that Amy brought up. So I'm really glad that you've echoed exactly what she had said when we met with her.
We've heard a lot about Langstonbury that you celebrated before the summer holidays. Can you tell us a bit more about it and what you did and what the children got up to?
So we created Langstonbury off the back of all the festivals happening around our area and wanting our children to experience a festival. So Liz, ROT, had this lovely idea that we ran with. And each day of the week was a different type of festival for our children. We had Mayhem Monday, Twinkle Tuesday.
Woodstock Wednesday.
Yeah. We had Thoughtful Thursday. And then we had our Legends Friday. So there was raving on Monday. There was a Fairy Festival on the Tuesday. We went full on Woodstock Wednesday. Thursday was more yoga and mindfulness on the Thursday. And then Legends Friday was where all the staff and children were encouraged to dress up as a legend.
In fairness, for the full week, and it was wonderful because every day the children and the parents, well done, shout out to the parents because we've all been there. And when we get that letter saying you've got to dress up once,
dress.
whereas we were suggesting every day. and the parents, fantastic. They stepped up to the mark, and the children, and it was great because every day we didn't know what was coming through the door. And the children, some of the costumes were just fantastic. It was such a lovely way to round up a really successful year, a really positive year. Obviously, we have to be mindful that everything that we're doing through that week, there are learning opportunities, and there are for our children. So it's not abandoning the curriculum, it's just squeezing the curriculum through another route. So there were learning opportunities that carried on, but the end of term for everyone, no matter which school you're in, is fraught. It's busy. Everyone's tired collectively. Everyone's got half a mind on whether they're going to get their flight on Tuesday. And, those sort of things. The children are tired. The parents are tired. And it just, as a treatment to that, it works so well that we had an end of term that everyone just found to be jolly and uplifting, and the pressure was off because we'd spent so much time planning for this week. So the staff knew what they were coming into each day. It was kind of delivered to them. So it just worked really well.
Yeah, it was multisensory. So we looked at every sense for our pupils to ensure that they did have their needs met whilst having a learning opportunity. And it lifted everybody's spirits. Everybody had a smile on their face. The children were really happy and relaxed. The staff were happy. It was a really lovely, lovely week. Yeah.
Yeah, we created our own logo. We created our own banners. We had flags. We had pop-up tents. I suppose the mark of the event was that all of the staff want to do it again, and so do we as a school, as a way of rounding up. And we do spend a lot of time celebrating our children and their achievements and our staff, and it was the perfect way to do it again. And this is something that's going to run and run. We will have Langstonbury will come back. We might have a fallow year, I don't know, but certainly Langstonbury will come back. Liz, our OT, has got lots of new ideas. She's already planning them. So yeah, and it's something that we want to sort of broaden out, bigger and bigger, invite other special schools to participate in events.
Other areas of the charity can come and take part. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's something that kind of recording these podcasts and meeting people from all across the charity, working in different services, something that runs right through the core of it that I'm finding out as I meet different people and talk about the things they do. The experiences of the children, the young people, the adults that we support is always really key. So yeah, we might have the education and we've got the care and we've got all of this, but actually, as you said, you didn't want your children missing out on those opportunities. And I think that's echoed throughout the whole of the charity. And that's something really lovely to hear, that everybody is wanting everybody to have an experience, which is lovely.
And they all got a fabric wristband.
Oh,
absolutely.
Well, I'm trying next year.
Absolutely.
Sold.
And dated. So it's a marker as well. It's every child has got this kind of, you were there for this.
Are we going to have ticket stress? Like, is this a thing?
Yes.
Do we have to be online to
Yeah,
get tickets at a certain
It's
time?
the black market I'm worried about.
Yeah.
But
So this charity started with Langside School. So it's amazing to see kind of the journey and all the services that are available now. Kind of what do you think about how it's grown really and supported so many more people?
yeah, I mean, it is when I do the show rounds of families and visitors and volunteers and fundraisers. We always walk through the hall, and the hall for me is kind of, I mean, it's iconic in a very diverse abilities way. The domed roof, and it was built going on 65 years ago by parents because there was nowhere for their children to go. The dads would come home and dig the foundations, and there was no education for children with complex needs or any higher level of special needs. So it became Langside Centre, and it was kind of a community charity run group. And that building is still there, and around it the school has grown, and we're sat in sort of porta cabins now because we've had to expand.
Run out of room.
We've run out of room. The site itself has kind of reached its maximum, and we are looking at kind of improving that and hopefully future-proofing it with a new build at some point. But yes, it is. You think that hall, which is just pretty much the starting point for the school and for the charity, because of course, if you look, the model for supporting children like ours around the country is residential, whereas that wasn't the model that developed in Poole. And because there wasn't a residential offer for diverse abilities, the charity has had to find and develop with respite and short breaks for our children. And that's why we've got Lily's and we've got the treehouse. And then, of course, the children became adults. So we've got short breaks, not short breaks, sort of supported living. And we've got the beehive. So because of this small group of people and their need for the justice of their children being supported and educated, there are now thousands of families over the last 60 plus years, nearly 70 years, that have been supported by the charity. And it all started in that one small hall, which is now, full of equipment, expensive whiz-bang things that can Bluetooth in and do this and do that. And it started in a very humble way. And I don't think the people that were there shaking the fundraising tins could even envisaged what impact it would have on Dorset.
Very well said. So every episode we pull a note from our happy jar. Becky, would you like to take one?
Yeah, so this one is surviving the summer holidays. At the end of each summer holidays, we host a huge family fun day for everyone with all sorts of activities. And then the staff all come together to treat themselves to a night out after. That sounds like it's from the children's team.
Yes, it is. It's one of ours. So the summer holidays is obviously a really long time for us. It probably on the complete flip side to Langside. You can't wait for the summer. We dread the summer. Well, we don't dread it. That's probably a bit harsh. It's just a really long, intense 6 weeks of trying to coordinate quite large services across the whole of the county. So at the end of every summer holiday, we started it. Well, I kind of took it over about 8 years ago. I think originally it was just a picnic and it's grown and grown and grown and now it's massive, where we all come together at the end of the summer with all of our families and we celebrate making it through, because a lot of our families find the summer really tough. And then as part of that, we do our Shining Star. So over the summer, all of the families and children and staff can vote for all the different staff members. And at the end of the summer, the person with the most votes wins our Shining Star. It's just a really good way of recognising the hard work that our staff do. And then anybody who receives a nomination will get their nominations all posted out to them. So they'll get a little stack of nominations from all the children, parents and things. It's just a really nice way to appreciate our staff for working so hard in the summer. And then I say we all go on a night out, not me anymore, but they all go on a night out at the end to celebrate making it through. So yeah, it's just a nice way to sort of round it off, take a breath before we start thinking about October and Christmas.
Yeah, it's a great way to celebrate if everyone's get together and just
have
No,
fun.
you've made it to the end of the summer holidays.
The countdown. Okay, so I've got taking one of the adults we support to see a Queen tribute band at Bournemouth Pavilion and seeing him sing along, interacting with other members of the audience. So I'm guessing this is adults.
Yeah, this is actually from a memory from my happy jar. So it was taking one of the adults we support to see Queen, and he just loved it. He's got a very busy social life, much busier than my social life. He's always on to going to football, to the pub, and he loves Queen. So just seeing him like sing along to the songs he knows, and just being able to enjoy a night out was fantastic. Yeah, he really loved it.
It's back to those experiences again, isn't it? And making sure that whoever it is that we're supporting, we're giving them the opportunity to have those experiences and not miss out.
Yeah, and being able to enjoy the special memories. And really having a nice time.
So I think, Jon and Nicki, we're going to put you on the spot. You've obviously got years, no doubt, worth of happy memories. Do you want to share one of your favourites?
Wow. Yeah, I was so busy listening to you, I forgot to think about me. I mean, I've got some horror stories from mainstream, but I came into education because when I was in education back in the 70s, it was so creative, and I'm quite a making, doing sort of person, and I came into education for that purpose. Little did I know that wouldn't last very long, and 2 or 3 years into my career, that was it. I was in the senior management team, and that creativity's gone. However, there is nothing better than watching a child that has achieved something and seeing that step and the impact it has on the child, the parent, whether it's in mainstream or special, is still kind of a wow moment. Now, in mainstream, you can get those 20 times a day, and books are thrust in front of you all the time. Can you look at this? And it's great. And it's just, oh my gosh, knowing where that child was and where they come to. At Langside, it's much slower. But when you get those moments, they just make it all worthwhile because it's so big for that child. And it may have taken 2 years to reach this point. But my gosh, the impact that has on you, because you think, that's why I'm here. This is why we do what we're doing. So there are probably thousands of memories, but actually it's more that collective why we're doing it. And every now and again, you get a powerful reminder of why you're doing it. And that's the stuff nothing can take that away from it, no matter how bad the week, no matter how short the budget is, no matter, because there's always compromises. But what you can't take away is that when children achieve, you've done your job. And that's what we're about, really. We're not about Ofsted. We're not about conforming to, well, we are, if anyone's listening. But we're about children's achievement and the power that can have at any time. It can, and it's great because it's unexpected.
And I don't know about you, but I always talk about when those moments happen for me, I feel really privileged to have been in the position to be part of that, or to have driven the change, or to have supported the change, or even just to be there when that moment has happened. So
you have those little, we did that moment.
Yeah.
And the great thing about Langside is we do work as a collective, because of the nature of our children. You can't be a lone figure or a lone voice. And there are certainly plenty of people in leadership that like to work that way, but it just won't work at Langside. Everyone has to be. And so it's so nice when, as a collective, we can all step back and go,
celebrate it.
Celebrate it. It's worked. It's like Langstonbury. It's like all these things that we do. It's so nice to be able to go, we did that.
How about you, Nicki? Have you got a memory from your last 20 years?
It's almost echoing what Jon has said. The celebrations that we have at the end of year, where every child has, achieved something, the look of joy on their parents' faces, the look of joy on their faces when they're receiving a certificate. And it's just, being part of that, like we've just said, is so important and gives you that feeling of happiness. And I think, our parents knowing that their children are safe with us. And when you've got those children in class and they've gone, bye, we'll see you later. And you think, yes, they've left their child with us. That's a really lovely moment as well, because they feel that they're safe with us, that they're happy to go to Sainsbury's or to go back to home, and have left their child with us. So that's another thing that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you both so much. So I've got one more thing. Every episode we have a myth that we like to try and bust. So this episode's myth is all students with disabilities are the same. So a one-size-fits-all approach is needed. So I'm going to leave this up to you two, because I think what you've already said has kind of debunked that myth. But yeah, what do you think?
Well, every child's unique. There's absolutely not one size fits all. At Langside, we have the luxury of being able to make everything bespoke to the individuals. I know they find that very difficult in mainstream, but, it's, every child has to have their own needs met. And that is different. That's different for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nicki sort of referenced it. I mean, my great regret really for education is that not all schools have the luxury that we do, that they can stop and look at the individual. My background was inclusion, and that's what we tried to do. But approaches have changed, funding's changed in mainstream, and I'm not convinced that we're getting that right. But every child is so different, but it's time. If we've got 32, you might have 32 in your class.
I was just about to say class size must make a huge difference.
Yeah.
As well
And if you've got
this.
100, my last school we'd have 150 in a year group. I mean, it's just big, and you have to have these machine-like, factory-like mechanisms to get
to churn through
to
everything.
process. Yeah. That being said, you see what is still coming out. People criticize young people all too easily, and you see the young people that come out the other end, and there are so many wonderful, clever, engaging, thoughtful. They work far harder than I was ever expected to in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, yeah, there is a lot of criticism for our young people, but I don't think it's fair.
Lovely. Well, I think we may have bust that myth again.
Definitely.
Thank you ever so much for joining us today, Jon. It was really interesting to hear about your journey from mainstream into Langside School and the changes that have happened over the years.
And Nicki, it was lovely to speak to you as well. Find out about the last 20 years you've had at Langside. It's lovely to hear about your journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Reasons to Care, the podcast from Diversabilities, Dorset's disability charity, all about what it means to work in care.
We'll be back with you again soon, so make sure you subscribe for updates. But in the meantime, don't forget to follow Diversabilities on social media. Check out our vacancies at diversabilities.org.uk/careers. And we'd love it if you could leave us a review if you enjoyed this episode. Bye.